So today I'm going to be replacing my alternator. I had an issue where I had the car parked for a few weeks. I came out, started the car, and heard a loud whining noise. And I started to see smoke coming from under the hood. So I shut it off right away. I came out and looked, and the alternator was smoking. And then I tried hitting the alternator maybe to free it up and ended up breaking some of the fins and everything off of it, so I definitely have to replace that. So the first thing you want to do, 14mm wrench and a longer wrench to give you some torque. You have your idler right there, which just spins freely, and right below it, right here, is your tensioner. It's a 14mm. So you want to put your wrench on there, hook another wrench through just like that on this side towards you, and you're going to want to pull towards you, which is going to push the tensioner away from you. And that'll allow you to release the belt. So when I was looking online for parts for an alternator, I found this kit made by Continental. It includes a new belt tensioner, a new idler pulley, as well as a belt. So I'll be replacing that stuff as well. Great kit. Here's the part number. It says assembled in the USA, but I believe this stuff is made in Canada. But this was about $150, and I got it from AutoZone. And I went with a brand new alternator as opposed to a remanufactured one. Here's the part number for that. And this was, I think, over $200, but I will get $44 core charge when I return the old one. So, not too bad. I just figured I'd rather have a brand new alternator as opposed to a reman. So, in the kit, kit comes with a new belt. Comes with an idler, fresh bearing inside, already installed, and the belt tensioner. Looks like this. Already has the bearing installed. The nut is tight. Looks good. Okay, so I've removed my top pulley. It was right here. And the next step to removing the tensioner, which is right here, is going to be 3 bolts. I see 2 here. And looking at the new tensioner, I know that I'm gonna have I see 2 holes here, but I know I'm gonna have 3 bolts. So looking at this, I know there's gonna be a bolt back here. So let me see if I can feel it. Yep, it's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on those. And these are 12mm bolts here that hold on the tensioner. Alright, so as you can see, I went and got a piece of wood and just propped my hood up with that because this hood prop is right in the work area. But after trying to access the bottom bolts on the alternator, I'm not really able to get the last one, which is on the other side of this hard line down here on the back side. I was able to get the one in the front. I was able obviously to get that, but I can't reach the back one. I tried with a deep socket, I tried with a short socket, I tried with a straight wrench, and it just no access. So I am going to have to loosen this bracket, move it back. So the first thing I would do is get Allen wrench, remove this front bumper, Allen bolt, take that out. And then these are all 10 millimeters. There's one here on the top, 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter on the back side right here. And I'm hoping I can just loosen up this one side, not have to remove the whole thing. There's going to be another bolt right here, and I can't get to that with this, so I have to get a wrench. And there's going to be another 10 right here, which holds this little bracket that goes to the top of the radiator. Let's see what else is attached. It looks like my coolant fill is attached. And this one more, 10 millimeter here, and we'll see. Hopefully that'll allow me to move this radiator support out of the way. Don't want to drop it, don't want to drop it. Got it. So not quite yet. What else do I need to do? Oh, right here. Okay, so there's another 10 millimeter right here. And it looks like that attaches to the AC condenser in front of the radiator. And if you haven't gotten yourself some ratcheting wrenches, you really should. These things are great. Alright, so I'm going to take that out so I don't drop it and lose it. Now, can we move? Well, I guess this has to come off, right? Prop the hood back up. So what else do we need to take off to get this out of the way? I have my hood release, which I don't think I need to remove. I think I'm going to have to take these off as well. Looks like I'm gonna have to remove the whole thing. Fucking A. That sucks. But it is what it is, right? So same thing as the other side. 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter on the back. Remove the Allen key and another 10 millimeter underneath. So I did have to remove this, well, loosen it all the way. I took every bolt out of the radiator support. Took all the bolts out of this side. I did leave the hood latch all attached, but I was able to lift this and pull it way out and give myself plenty of room to reach the alternator. There was a couple of clips here, like this clip went in right here, held some wires. I had to take that out, and I had to pop this off, which attached right there. And I'll just zip tie that back when I'm done. But now you can see the damage to the alternator from me hitting it. All these fins are cracked off and gone. They fell down into the alternator, and it looks like it's cracked all the way going down. But anyway, you can see the 2 bolts now. 2 bolts are right there. We got one right here, and there's one right here. So this one is loose all the way. It's a really long bolt. I don't want to drop it, but one there. And then this one was really tough because the AC line is right up against it. So what I had to do was get a wrench, put it on there, and then I got a longer wrench, bigger wrench, hooked it on the end to get myself some more torque and leverage, and I was able to crack that loose. So now I'll finish removing the alternator. Okay, now that we've got all the bolts loose, I'm going to get this hood prop out of the way. Get my piece of wood back. And just pray that the hood doesn't fall on my head, right? So, just the top bolt. And before I take the bottom bolts out, we have a plug right here. It's got a clip on this side, so you just push that in. I'll try to get this fucker out. Okay, got it. Get that out. It looks like there's another cord right here that I think might have, oh yeah, it's got a little, okay, it's got a 10mm nut. So it looks like there is a 10mm nut on the end of that right there. I don't know if you can see that, probably can't. But, so before you move your alternator, I should have said earlier, right now my battery usually sits down there. My battery's out of the car, so it's disconnected. Your battery's connected, make sure you disconnect the negative before you come here and put a wrench to this alternator. Alright, so this is where I'm at. I've got my wrench on my last bolt, which is back under the motor mount. I realized when I was taking the tensioner apart, I had to remove the pulley, which is just a 14mm bolt. And that gave me room to get my wrench back to get the last bolt there. Also, so there's 4 bolts total. I'll just show you with the new one. There's 4 bolts total, 3 around, and then the 4th one is in the middle, which I didn't realize until I started taking the old one apart. So far I've gotten 3 bolts out, and my last one is the 4th one back there. I'm using a 12. It's another 12mm. You can see I just cracked it loose, and now the whole thing is nice and loose. And I'm using a 12mm deep socket. And I'm probably going to drop this bolt. Let me see. I can do this without dropping it. My socket. There we go. I know you guys probably aren't going to do all this just to get the alternator out. Like I said, I'm sure if I just kept trying, I would be able to get the alternator out one way or another. But like I said, since I'm doing the tensioner, I might as well take it out of my way, make life easy. There we go. So there's the old tensioner out of the way, and that was the last bolt right there, what just fell out. Okay, so there's also a nut on the bottom that fits into here, so you guys know. Try to show you everything so you're not surprised, right? So we got that out. Looking at the old one, it looks the same. Everything looks to be the same, so we should be good. All right, so now I should have plenty of room. Take out the alternator. Now that my tensioner is out of the way, I'm hoping getting there. Nope, not coming out. Okay, so what the fuck do I need to do here? I got all this room here. This has to be where it's coming out. So I'm just gonna keep trying. Okay, flip it that way. Okay, so that seemed to work the best. I spun it like that, pulled it straight out that way. All right. So now that this is out, I can show you the 10mm, because I wasn't able to really get it on video, but there's a 10mm here. When this is in the car, you got your plug, goes here, and down here, I'm assuming this is a ground wire. This attaches right here to this 10mm. So just make sure you take that off before you go trying to yank out the alternator. Okay, so I got my new alternator, and it's always a good idea to just double check, make sure everything looks the same type of plug. 10mm nut seems to be the same. This one has a brand new 10mm nut on it. And you can see too how this thing cracked when I hit it. Cracked all the way down here. This whole piece is gone. Cracked all back here. So just a word of advice, don't, if your alternator is starting to go, look, this one's completely frozen. I can't even turn it. If your alternator is starting to go, don't hit it with a hammer. Don't be stupid like me, because this stuff could have broke off and got into my belt and caused a whole lot of trouble. So anyway, everything looks the same. Always want to make sure before you put it in. Good to go. Alright, so it's time to put the new one in. I know that when I took the old one out, I had it facing this way. Make sure that doesn't fall off. So I'm going to go down through here. And I have, this is where my top bolt is going to go, and this is where my two lower bolts are going to go. So I have that up and down to help me line it up. I get it in, so I'm just being careful here. I don't want to fuck up any of these lines. And it looks like I'm getting caught on the plug a little bit. There we go. Okay. Not too bad. Alright. Alright, so before I put any bolts in, I stopped myself. I started to put the top bolt in. I'm going to put this plug Make sure that it's facing the right way. There's a clip. That clip faces to the right. Feel that clip in. I'm sure you can't see this really because the sun is fucking shining over here now, so I'll try to get down like this. But I want to get this 10mm nut taken off. My wire put back on. Tighten that up. So I've got everything installed. Double checked everything, triple checked, made sure everything was tight. My belt lined up nice. So double check that your belt is lined up. Doesn't hurt to just keep checking things and make sure that the belt is centered. Make sure it's centered on the crank down there. Everything looks good. It's time to start the car. Hopefully everything goes right. Double check again while it's running. Make sure everything looks good. No weird noises. Everything seems good.